Hi there, I'm Bob and I'm doing the New Testament reading for today. So we are back in Ephesians and we're reading from Ephesians chapter 5 from verse 8 through to the end, so through to verse 33. And what we kind of continue to unpack today in this reading is kind of that title of living as children of the light. So Paul starts to talk where he's been talking for the last chapter or so about behaviour now. So beginning of the book of Ephesians, or his letter, he's talking about belief and kind of trying to sew in everything kind of like up here, with the kind of this is what we understand, this is what impacts us and now he's saying that, and this is the behaviour that comes from that, and he's saying living as children of the light. He starts this bit with talking about, for you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness and truth, and find out what pleases the Lord. And I love that sense of kind of finding out what pleases the Lord, like going on that adventure together as what actually, Lord, what actually is good, what do you love, how can I make that part of the way that I live, that in my very being, in everything that I'm doing, I'm pleasing you. And there's a kind of invitation here to start really unpacking what that means, to please the Lord and to live as children of the light because of the light that is in us. And then he carries on, he talks about like it makes a couple of other points, but the thing I want to just draw out today is he says in verse 17, therefore do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. There's kind of that almost like a similar phrase to finding out what pleases the Lord, like understanding what the Lord's will is and what's in his heart. And the only way we can do that is by being in relationship with him, by understanding who he is as our Father. And the other day I went round to my parents' house and just to drop in to say thank you for something that they'd done for me. And my dad loves Chinese. I know he loves Chinese because I know him really well. And I know him so well that I know exactly what he would order from the Chinese restaurant when he goes to the Chinese restaurant. They know him by name at the Chinese restaurant, which is concerning in some ways. But I know what he would want and what he'd order. And so I go up to the Chinese restaurant and I make the order and I get the stuff and I take it down for him and his face is like, ah. And I know what pleases him because I know my dad, I know my father. And that's because I spend time with him. That's because I've been around him since I was young. That's because I've noticed things about what he really likes, and I kind of try to remember those things, so that when I really want to bless him and please him, I know what to do in order to do that. And that's just one silly way that me buying Chinese is going to please him. And it's the same with God. There are things that are in the heart of God that God loves and that God tells us about in his word and shares with us as we meet with him, that we can engage with, we can bring into our behaviours that really delight him, that really bless him, that are his will, that please him and that he loves. So I just want to encourage you today, go after those things today. Remind yourself, what is it that makes God so delighted? And go after those things today in whatever you're doing.